The most impressive NBA shots of all time. The NBA has seen some wild shots get taken over the course of their extended history. Today, we're going to dive deeper into these shots and bring up some of the most impressive of all time. Stick around until the end to catch a shot that's likely to be remembered forever. There simply wasn't any way that we're going to make this list without including this legendary play from James Harden. Harden took on Wesley Johnson out on the perimeter during his game between the Houston Rockets and the Los Angeles Clippers and took him to school. He crossed him over so badly that he had time to stare at Johnson while he was getting back up. Harden literally waited for him to get back up and try to defend him before letting his three-pointer fly. I truly don't know how Johnson was able to get back up and continue the game after this. He might as well have just gone home at that point. Next, we have one of the greatest shots that games have ever seen. It also happened to be known as Michael Jordan's final shot, though it wasn't actually. He did play for the Washington Wizards a few years later. Regardless, Jordan was in the NBA Finals against the Utah Jazz in a series-clinching matchup. Jordan took on Byron Russell with less than 10 seconds remaining in the game, with his team down by 1 point. He crossed Russell over incredibly bad and drilled a pull-up mid-range jumper to absolutely rip the hearts of the entire Jazz roster and all the fans in the stadium. Another wildly impressive shot that we just had to talk about was the Ray Allen three-pointer that saved the Miami Heat. In the closing minutes of Game 6, the NBA and all of the fans in the building expected the San Antonio Spurs to win the NBA championship. It was so close to a guarantee that the yellow ropes were coming out in the stands. All signs pointed to them pulling away here, but the Heat never faltered down the stretch with LeBron James and company. Then, right before the celebration run was able to go for the Spurs, Chris Bosh picked up a few offensive rebounds to keep one of the final plays alive. Bosh kicked it out to Ray Allen, who stepped backwards behind the three-pointer arc without even looking at where he was positioning on the court. He fired away a highly contested shot and drilled it to keep the Heat alive and force a Game 7. After the shot, Allen could be heard yelling, "Get those mother ropes out of here!" We have another Michael Jordan shot coming right at you. Jordan and the Chicago Bulls were going up against the Cleveland Cavaliers in what was a do-or-die Game 5 playoff matchup. The fourth quarter watched the lead switch hands multiple times, with his swapping 6 times in the final minute of action alone. However, nobody was able to end the series better than Jordan at the time. Chicago was down by 1 with 3 seconds left, and obviously threw it in to Michael. He broke loose off a double team just to catch it, and 2 dribbles, he got enough space to take a mid-range jumper. Craig Ello saw it coming and forced Jordan to double jump and hang in the air far longer than he wanted to, but it didn't matter. Jordan hung up a little longer than Ello and took the shot at the last possible second before drilling it as time expired to eliminate the Cavaliers and progress further into the postseason. This is a shot that largely gets overlooked in league history. It's at the time when Hakeem Olajuwon took on David Robinson one-on-one. This was a heated playoff series between the Houston Rockets and the San Antonio Spurs. One big factor coming into this series was that the league chose to give the NBA MVP award with Robinson instead of Olajuwon. Hakeem didn't appreciate getting overlooked right before a major series and chose to take it at Robinson whenever he got the opportunity. The biggest shot came when Olajuwon had Robinson in isolation and pulled off a nasty crossover before faking a layup. Both of those didn't get the Admiral to jump, so Hakeem went further into his bag. He spun around towards the baseline and faked a mean jump hook, which forced Robinson off of his feet. Olajuwon then capped his nasty shot off with an up and under to close the deal. To make this play sweeter, the Rockets won this series and eventually picked up the second consecutive NBA championship, with Hakeem leading the way. One thing we have to see in this video is a legit trick shot attempted by an NBA player. Well, here you have it. Trevor Booker and the Utah Jazz knew that the shot clock was rapidly climbing down on this particular possession. Without even hesitation, Booker posted up a defender and instantly flipped the ball up and over the back of his head to beat the clock. I can guarantee you that this wasn't exactly how the coach drew the plan up in practice, but Booker got the miraculous shot to fall for him. All the Oklahoma City Thunder could do was just stand around in disbelief. This next one is listed as an impressive shot, mostly due to the player that let it fly. Russell Westbrook is certainly not known to be a shooter in this league. I mean, we all watched him last season on the Los Angeles Lakers to prove that statement. However, when he was with the Thunder, he was able to take some shots from deep on occasion. The most impressive was the one he attempted against the Denver Nuggets, his team down 2 points and there being a very small amount of time left on the clock. Russ fired it from what looked like 40 feet away from the basket, and he made the distance look like it was nothing. The shot dropped for him and gave him his 50th point of the night and the buzzer-beating game winner against Denver. I would have hated to be a Nuggets fan in the stadium at this moment for sure. Now look, you don't often see players take shots that they don't usually take in the biggest stages of the game. However, Magic Johnson was able to mix it up a little bit when his Lakers were down against the Boston Celtics during Game 4 of the 1987 NBA Finals. This was arguably the biggest stage that you could be on and in a very stressful situation all around. The Lakers threw the inbounds to Magic, who took some time to figure out how to attack before driving to the middle of the court. He realized that half of the Celtics roster surrounded him at the charity stripe, so he decided to get crafty. He lofted up a baby sky-hook shot with his right hand that soared over every defender in front of him to give the Lakers the victory in the closing seconds. There simply wasn't any way that we couldn't include this shot from Damian Lillard. The Portland Trail Blazers were locked in a tie game at 115 against the OKC Thunder. Blazers held a 3-1 series lead and were playing at home with just 5 seconds left on the clock. Portland wanted to end it right here, and so did Dame. Lillard surprisingly dribbled the clock all the way down before even attempting to drive in, something that eventually made sense when he hit Paul George with a sidestep 3 from a mile away as the buzzers expired. George tried to contest it as best as he possibly could, but there just wasn't any stopping this one. Lillard dropped it in and sent the Thunders home in devastating fashion. Throw in that wave goodbye to the Thunder team so they walked away, and you have one of the most recognizable shots in modern NBA history right here. That will do it for today's video on the most impressive NBA shots of all time. If you enjoyed this video, be sure to leave a like and smash that subscribe button so that you see more of our content.